Namaskar. Om Namah Shivaya. On this auspicious night of Maha Sivaratri, I welcome you all to the Bharat Varsham channel. Um, Tonight is a special night as it is the night of awakening and also the night to keep awake. On Shiva's night, what can be better than remembering and speaking about his greatest disciples, the Nayanars? Our small satsang group has gathered together to pay homage to 12 of those unparalleled Shiva Bhaktas, the Nayanars. We will begin with those four prominent Nayanars who are considered greater than those greatest disciples. They are Apparaswamy, Tirugyana Sambandar, Manikavasagar, and Sundaramurti Nayanar. So we will begin with Apparaswamy.
They call these four as Samayakuravar Nalvar. They are Appar, Tirunyana Sambandar, Sundarar, and Manikavasagar. They hold a special place. Though we have 63 Nayanmar, these four are called Samayakuravar and they hold a special place. And there are also Sandana Kuravar Nalvar, four people, but they are more involved in Saiva Siddhanta, more of philosophy, whereas the Samaya Kuravar, Appar, Tirunyana Sambandar, they are more involved in Bhakti Marga. Though they also have a great amount of knowledge and jnanam, they are more involved in Bhakti Marga. In this, Appar definitely holds a special place. His original name is Marulnikiyar. When he was born, the name given to him was Marulnikiyar. His parents, apart from his parents, who are Pugalanar and Madiniyar, apart from his parents, his sister Tilagavadiyar played a big role in his transformation as well. He has multiple other names. Appar is also called as Thirunavukarasar. His original name is Marulnikiyar. Apart from that, he is also called as Vakisar and so on. There are multiple special names for him. He was born in Tiruvamur, a place which is luckily close to my hometown as well, just 25-30 kilometers from the place I was brought up. So Tiruvamur is close to Viluppuram or Panruti, that area. He originally joined Jainism and he was a saint in Jainism. Up to even till the age of 56 years, he was still in Jainism. Then suddenly, at some time, he developed a severe stomach pain. They call Sulai Noi. He developed severe stomach pain, and they tried to treat him with the different mantra and the medicine and so many things, but none of that helped, and it prolonged for a long time. So they tried to cure him, which didn't help. Then finally he wanted to go to his sister. Tilagavadiyar, his sister, was working in a temple, Tiruvadigai temple, She was doing the cleaning, and she was taking care of the temple and doing a lot of work in the temple. She was not married. After her engagement, her husband died in a war. From then on, she was just taking care of Upper, and she was the one who brought up Upper as well. So now, with severe stomach pain, to cure this, Upper wanted to reach out to his sister. His sister said, "No, I won't come there. You can come here. I won't come to that cave or the place you were met, but you can come here." So he went to Tiruvadigai temple. Upper went to Tiruvadigai temple. When he went there with some prayers and mainly with Vibhuti, they call the holy ash, she cured him. Once he got cured, he got that jnana also, and he became a very serious Shaivite and follower of Lord Shiva. This obviously the Jain monks didn't like, so they complained to the king. King summoned him, for which he replied saying, "Namarkum kudiyallam." We are not, I am not a citizen of any country. I belong to the country of the divine, or country of the Shiva. That's what he replied with. Later he was brought to the king, and king tried to punish him in different ways. He tried to tie him with a big stone and throw into the sea, and he tried to kill him with an elephant. So each of the attempts failed. He survived in all the attempts with prayer to Lord Shiva. Each of this, we are lucky to have some good songs from Tirunavukarasar. So he survived all that, and then the king also understood the value of Shiva and Shaivism, and he also changed his mind. Then Tirunavukarasar went to all the temples, most of the temples in Chora or Pandya kingdom he visited, and he prayed there. He wrote some great songs there, and so on. There is something which is very special about Tirunavukarasar. Anybody want to give a try? Other than he is one of the Samayakuravar, and he is a great poet, and he gave Devaram songs, right? There is one more thing which is very special about him compared to even the other three in the Samayakuravar. Yeah, one special thing is he not only sings the song or writes the hymns on the god and so on, he also works in the temple, goes and cleans the temple. The temples would have a lot of weed, creeper, and plants and dirt and everything. So it is called Ulavarapani. He used to go to all the temples, and he used to manually work there, clean with other people in the village, and clean up all the places, and that is also one thing he did, apart from writing songs on God and so on. That is one key reason when he was in a village impacted by famine, Lord Shiva was giving gold to him, and same way Jnanasamandar also was there in the same place. He was giving gold to Jnanasamandar also. But when they went to sell that gold coin, they used to sell the gold coin, get some rice, dal, everything every day, and then cook the food and distribute to all the poor people around there. When he gave the gold to both these saints, his gold was valued higher by the merchants. So they had a doubt, some of the people, why only Tirunavukarasa's gold has a higher value. For that, the answer they got is he is not only a bhakta, he also did seva physically as well, coming to the temple and cleaning up. And so that is one thing which is special about him, because of which this interesting incident also happened. So as I mentioned about in the current incident, he lived in the same time as Thiruñana Sambandar. Both him and Thiruñana Sambandar, they wear attitude of seva. In an interesting incident, though Tirunavukarasar is such a big bhakta himself, he always was wearing attitude of seva, right? In an interesting incident, when Thiruñana Sambandar knew that Tirunavukarasar is close by, in a town nearby, he was trying to find, he's going in a pallak, they call, in a chariot or so, and he was trying to find in which town Tirunavukarasar is there. He's asking some people, one guy is saying one town, other guy was saying another town. Then he was asking whether anybody really knows where exactly is Tirunavukarasar. Then he runs from the people who are carrying that pallak, right? He runs in front and says, yeah, I'm here and I'm carrying your pallak. So that is an interesting incident. So he was really shocked, Thiruñana Sambandar. You are such a big saint and you are carrying me on your shoulder. Right, so Thiruñana Sambandar was kind of shocked. So that is the kind of attitude Tirunavukarasar was wearing. There are lot of interesting stories and a lot of poems Devaram he has written on Shiva. Considering the time limit, I'll stop here and hand it over to Amma.
In Sirkari, Shivapada Hridayar, a great devotee of Lord Shiva, was bathing in the temple tank. On the bank, his 3-year-old son Sambandhar was sitting. The father, repeating mantras, did not come out of the water for a long time. The child got afraid and began crying, looking towards the temple. Hearing the child's cry, Lord Shiva and consort Uma Devi appeared near the child, and the Divine Mother is believed to have fed the child with the milk of Shiva's divine wisdom. From that moment, the child became Tirujñana Sambandhar. Tirujñana Sambandhar was one of the 63 Nayanmars celebrated for his devotion to Lord Shiva. His life story is considered one of the most significant in the Tamil Shaiva tradition. He was a contemporary of Appar, another Shaiva saint, and lived around 7th century CE. Information about Sambandhar comes mainly from the Periya Puranam, the 11th century Tamil book on the Nayanars. As a young boy, Tirujñana Sambandhar is said to have shown remarkable signs of spiritual maturity. One of the most famous tales of Tirujñana Sambandhar is that when he was still very young, he was lost in the jungle while searching for food. He was discovered by a group of saints who were struck by his spiritual insight and wisdom. They recognized his devotion to Lord Shiva and invited him to sing the praises of Shiva in their presence. His beautiful hymns and divine expressions of love for Shiva left an indelible mark on the hearts of all who heard him. One of the most remarkable miracles in his life occurred during his childhood, when his devotion to Lord Shiva was so intense that it is said that Shiva himself appeared to him in the form of a child and directed him to the temple at Sirkari, where he would receive his spiritual awakening and divine grace. Tirujñana Sambandhar is best known for his devotional hymns and poems dedicated to Lord Shiva. He is considered one of the foremost among the Nayanmar saints, alongside figures like Appar, Shankaranayanar and Sundarar. His poetic work includes Tirupallattu, a compilation of hymns dedicated to Lord Shiva. These hymns are filled with expressions of deep love, surrender, and gratitude to the deity. One of the significant stories from Tirujnana Sambandhar's life involves a dispute with Jain monks. Jainism had a strong influence in Tamil Nadu during this period, and it was even seen as a rival faith to Shaivism. According to legend, a group of Jain monks challenged Tirujnana Sambandhar to a debate. Tirujnana Sambandhar, filled with the divine grace of Lord Shiva, accepted the challenge and went to confront the monks. In one dramatic and poetic gesture, he recited hymns dedicated to Lord Shiva that were so powerful and spiritually charged that they are said to have caused the Jain monks to lose their debate and retreat from the scene. Once it so happened that Appar and Tirujnana Sambandhar reached Vedaranyam and found that the shrine door at the temple there was always closed. Appar explained that it is believed that the Vedas came to worship the Lord, and while going they closed this door, and henceforth the door remains closed. The devotees would always enter through another gate. Hearing this, Sambandhar requests Appar to sing a hymn requesting the Lord to open the door. Appar sang not one, not two, but 10 hymns, but the door did not open. Dejected, he sang one more song, and the door opened. Now, Appar requests Samandar to sing for the Lord so that the door opens easily and the devotees could have convenient darshan. After singing one hymn, Tirujnana Sambandhar realizes that their wish has been granted. Appar says, I had to sing 11 hymns, while one hymn of yours showed results. Tirujnana Sambandhar replies, Master, the Lord wanted to hear you sing more and so kept the door closed. But he could not stand more than one of my hymns. Pressed by his parents and devotees, Tirujnana Sambandhar finally agreed to marry the daughter of Nambiyandar Nambi. It is believed that after the wedding ceremony got over, an immense glow appeared and engulfed the temple in the bride's village Perumananallur, and the bridegroom, bride, and all assembled there merged into the light. After his passing, Tirujnana Sambandhar's hymns continued to be an essential part of the devotional practices in Tamil Nadu. His teachings and hymns remain a profound influence on Tamil devotional poetry and continue to inspire countless devotees in their path of spirituality and devotion to Lord Shiva. His legacy is carried forward by the many temples he helped to restore and the hymns that continue to be sung today in temples across Tamil Nadu and beyond. Shaivism retooled its Vedic roots and transmuted the Vedic ritual into a personalized temple bhakti ritual. Thus, the Shaiva poet saints such as Sambandar and Appar emerged with an optimistic, cheerful celebration of Shiva, soul and life with music and songs. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Sundaramurti Nayanar. Sundaramurti Nayanar flourished in the 8th century. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He is one of the Tamil Samaya Acharyas. Sundaramurti Nayanar sang the glories of Lord Shiva at all the sacred places that he visited. These hymns are called Tevaram. They have been collected into a book form. All devotees sing the Tevaram even today. Hymns sung by Sundarar, Appar or Tirunavukar and Tirujnana Sambandhar are called Tevaram. The hymns of Manikyavasagar are called Tiruvajagam. Sundarar had the Sakhya Bhava or the attitude of a friend towards the Lord. He freely demanded of the Lord whatever he wanted. He did not do so with a selfish desire, however. Whatever he asked for was for the sake of those who were dependent on him. He lived only 18 years. Sundaramurti Nayanar was born in Tirunavalu, where the entire atmosphere was full of spiritual vibration and Shaivism was well established. In this place there lived a pious, devout and respected Brahmin by name Sadayanar, whose ancestors were all ardent devotees of Lord Shiva. Isajnaniyar was his beautiful wife. She gave birth to a divine child whom the parents named Nambi Arurar after its grandfather. In his previous incarnation, Arurar was Alala Sundarar, who was an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva. When the Milky Ocean was being churned by there was an Azuras, a deadly poison began to spread on the surface of the ocean, threatening the existence of all beings. Then Alala Sundar collected that poison in his hand and gave it to Lord Shiva, who drank it for the protection of the world. Hence, Sundaran got the word Alala prefixed to his name. Alala is the name of the poison. Once when Alala Sundara was living by the side of Lord Shiva in the Mount Kailas, serving the Lord and bringing flowers from the garden for his worship, he cast a lustful look at Anindidi and Kamalini, the attendants of goddess Parvati, who had also gone to collect the flowers from the garden for the divine mother's worship. They too fell in love with him. Lord Shiva, through his divine vision, understood all that had happened in the garden. He called Alala Sundara and said, Sundara, since you fell in love with these girls, you and they too will go down to the earth and take a human birth. You will marry them and enjoy the pleasure of the world. Sundara wept bitterly, regretting his folly which had resulted in his separation from the Lord. He prayed to the Lord, O Lord, it is due to my evil thought that I have to undergo this separation from you. I am afraid lest I should be steeped in ignorance and forget you. O Lord of mercy, let this not happen to me. O Lord of compassion, dispel my ignorance soon and take me back to your lotus feet. Lord Shiva granted this wish. There was another cause for Sundarar's human birth. To an ordinary man, it may appear that Sundarar was a victim to lust, even in the divine realm of Kailasa. It was not so. Sundarar was only an instrument in the hands of God. It was Lord Shiva's wish that Sundarar should sing Tiruttonda Togai for the benefit of mankind. So Lord Shiva entered his mind and created a desire for these two girls. Also, the Lord wanted to teach mankind a great lesson. Lust is extremely powerful. It can delude even a great devotee of the Lord like Sundarar, even if he is not very vigilant. Maya's charms are powerful. Unless this evil quality is burnt, the Jiva cannot reach Shiva. Yet another lesson. Lustful eye was the cause of Sundarar's downfall. But when it is used in the service of the Lord, the very same organ will help towards our emancipation. Sundarar was therefore born as Arura. The king of that place, Narsingha Munayar, happened to see the beautiful child. He liked him. He wanted to bring him himself and asked for the parents' permission. Sadayanar, whose mind was full of dispassion and who was not attached to anything in this world, immediately complied with the king's wish. Just the the boy grew up under royal care. At the proper age, parents wanted to get their son married. Sadayanar sought Sandakavi Sivacharya's consent to obtain his daughter's hand for his son, Arurar. Shivacharya gladly agreed, but the wedding was not to take place. Just when the ceremony was to begin, an old Brahmin with sacred ashes on his body, Rudraksha around his neck, and matted locks on his head appeared and said, This man, Arurar, is my bond slave. I have a document to that effect executed by his grandfather. He cannot marry. This put an end to the ceremony. Sundarar and the Brahmin left the place. The young bride fixed her mind on the holy feet of Sundarar, shed her mortal coil, and attained the immortal abode of Lord Shiva. Sundarar and the old man had a heated argument. Sundarar asked him, Who are you and from where have you come? To which the Brahmin replied, I belong to Tiruvannai Nallur. Sundarar called him a liar and said, Come, let us go to Tiruvannai Nellur and get this dispute settled by the wise men there. At Tiruvannai Nellur, before an assembly of wise men, the old Brahmin produced the document which read as follows. I, Aruran, the Adi Saivite of Tirunavalu, execute this bond of slavery with heart and soul. I and my progeny for all time to come are bond slaves to Pittan of Tiruvannai Nellur, and we are bound to serve him by all means. Pittan means Lord Shiva, who delights to be called a madman, to exemplify the state of the highest yogi, whose behavior resembles that of a madman, but who teaches us that there is nothing in this world worth taking any notice of, and the worldly wise men are all mad people in truth. After examining the witness cited in the document, this assembly confirmed that old man claim. Sundara had to accept as God's will. Followed by all of them, the Brahmin entered the temple of Arulturai on the pretext of showing him his house and promptly vanished. At that moment, Arora understood that it was Lord Shiva himself who had appeared as an old man to save him from the samsara. He was afflicted very much at the heart that he had not recognized him earlier. He cried aloud. The Lord appeared before him and blessed him. "O noble sir, you are already my bhakta. You were in my abode in Kailasa before this birth as a man. A wrong thought made you take this birth. Now I have myself come to save you." Because Sundara had quarreled with him, Lord himself called him Mantondan, means the devotee who used harsh words, and asked him to sing his glories. He called me, Shiva said, "You called me Pittan during your quarrel. So begin with this word and compose a poem." Sundara did so. The result was that inspiring poem, Pitta Pirai Sodi Perumane. The Lord himself came to be known as Tadutta Konda Ishwarar. That means the Lord prevented and saved him from samsara. And Sundara later visited number of holy places and sang the praises of the Lord in all of them. He came to Adigai Viratnam, that means the Tiruvadigai near Kadalur. There is a place where Upper served the Lord Virateshwarar and was blessed. Sundara did not like to place his foot on the sacred ground and so stayed on the outskirts of the village. That night, when Sundara was asleep, old man entered the mutt. He is none other than Lord Shiva. He lay down close to where Sundara was sleeping and pretending to sleep. He then placed his feet on the head of Sundarar. Sundarar objected to this. The old man apologized. Sundarar went over to another corner of the room. There too the old man repeated the same action. Sundara did not lose his temper. He calmly asked him for his identity and explanation for the abnormal behavior. "Oh friend, don't you know me?" asked the Lord and disappeared. At that moment, Sundara realized that it was again the Lord himself. See, since he had not gone into the place for his darshan, Lord himself had come out to where the devotee was. Sundara prayed, "Oh Lord, how kind and merciful you are. Even devotees who are well versed in Vedas and Agamas cannot touch your feet. Out of love towards this poor creature, you left your abode and came here to bless me with your holy feet." And he visited many other shrines, including Chidambaram, and came to Tiruvaru. And there, with the help of or with the divine intervention of Lord Shiva, he married one chaste woman called Paravaya, who was none other than the Kamalini, who was a devotee of Parvati in Kailasa. Then later, during one of the pilgrimage, he went to Tiruvattiur and stayed there for some time, worshipping the Lord there. There also he met Anindidiyar, another maid servant of Parvati in Kailasa, who had also taken as a human birth there. And her name is, the Janma is Sangiliyar in Tondainadu. Her father is Nyayiru Kidar, a Vellala by caste. He was also a staunch devotee of Lord Shiva. Sangiliyar was devoted to Parvati from her very childhood. Her parents decided to get her married, but when the word marriage here, she is getting fainted. So later, understanding the greatness of his daughter, he took her to Tiruvattiur and built a small ashram for her there. So Sangalira was doing all the sadhana, like by making garlands for the Lord in the temple. She regularly visited the temple and worshipped the Lord. One day, Sundarar and devotees went to the temple, and during the temple visit, he came to meet Sangiliyar, and he wanted to marry her and expressed this wish to the Lord. Like a parent, like a kid to the parent, he has got every right to ask for any wish. Such a lovely relationship they had.
the Lord promised promised to fulfill his wish. And Lord gave the dream of Sangalir and told her to marry Sundarar and told her to set a condition to Sundarar that he would not part her under any circumstance. Sundar had to agree to that condition, and the marriage was solemnized. After some time, in Tiruvarur, Vasanta Utsavam is being celebrated on a grand scale. He used to attend that festival every year. And he longed to go there, and he also recollected that the Paravayar used to sing and dance there in front of the Lord. So he was sad that he cannot go and attend that. So he had a struggle between the conflicting duty. He had given a commitment that he will not leave, but he has to go. But Sundarar finally decided to go. Once he crossed the border of Tirotrio, he suddenly lost his eyesight and fell down on the ground. Here, the Lord is impartial. No one escaped the operation of the law of divine justice. And slowly he regained his consciousness. He immediately realized his fault and prayed to the Lord for forgiveness, asked for the grant of eyesight. Then he completely resigned himself and he moved to Kanchipuram. After visiting many holy places on the way, he worshipped Mother Kamakshi and expressed his sufferings to her and pleaded to her to relieve him of his sufferings. Then he worshipped Yagambareshwarar. Then he restored vision to Sundarar's left eye. Getting that vision, he was in ecstasy and he rolled on the ground, shedding profuse tears of love. And from there, he proceeded to Tiruvarur. And due to this partial sight, he could not complete darshan of the Lord. The very sight of the temple tower entranced him. He wanted to see the temple tower with both eyes, which he was not able to do. So he was very sad. He lamented to the Lord, and Lord Shiva gave the vision for the second other eye also. And, one more thing, the story goes, because I don't think it will take days to talk about Sundarar. I am just reducing the volume because of paucity of time. And one more thing, interesting thing is the friendship between Sundarar and Cheraman Perumal Nayanar. Is a royal king who is a devotee of the Lord. In the company of Cheraman Perumal, Sundarar went on several pilgrimages and met many kings of South India. Cheraman once took Sundarar to his own place near Kodungalur, Kerala, with the great honor and pomp. He stayed with Cheraman for some time. Suddenly, Sundar remembered the Lord of Tiruvarur and wanted to go there. Cheraman could not accompany him and he was very grief-stricken. Sundarar consoled him and asked him to stay and take care of the country and rule the country wisely. Cheraman prostrated before him and gave him rich presents. And he arranged his people to carry those presents to accompany Sundarar. So it was Lord's wish that Sundarar should receive gifts only from him, not from anyone others. So what happened? Lord decided to deprive Sundarar of what Cheraman had given him. When Sundarar and the group were passing through Tirumurugan Pondi, the Lord sent his servants to rob Sundarar of all the riches that he had received from Cheraman. Lord's servants disguised themselves hunters and attacked and took away all the presents. They went to inform Sundarar about the incident. And Sundarar went to the local temple and sang a padigam. And he came out of the temple, and to his surprise, he saw the entire thing in the temple, what they had robbed. Now, it was gift from the Lord himself now. And so Sundarar, God's friend, could have it. Wonderful are the leelas of the Lord. And later, Sundarar again decided to see Cheraman Perumal, and he was received well by Cheraman at Kodungalur again with great love and veneration than before. He stayed with Cheraman there for some time. One day, Sundarar visited the temple alone and worshipped the Lord, and on the very sight of the Lord, sent him to trance. He rolled on the ground and shedding tears of God love. The hairs of the body stood on, and his mind was filled with the rapture. He regained the consciousness after a long time, and he was tired of this worldly existence. And he requested the Lord to take him back to Kailasa. Then he sang a padigam. Lord also agreed. He decided to take the Sundarar back to his abode. Commanded the Budaganas to bring him to Kailasa on a white elephant. Sundarar came out of the temple and he saw the temple. White elephant was waiting for him. He climbed the elephant and proceeded towards Kailasa. In a padigam, he sang on this occasion, about this occasion. Sundarar himself revealed that this departure for Kailasa was not in his physical body, but in his spiritual body. Physical body was discarded in the world itself, and allowing the elements to merge with the resources. And the chairman led Sundarar's departure by intuition. At once, he mounted on a horse and came to Tiruvanchikulam. There he saw Sundarar going along the sky on a celestial elephant. Chairman pronounced the Panchakshara in the ears of the horse. Then the horse flew up and reached Sundarar. Chairman worshipped Sundarar there. Both of them went to Kailasa in their spiritual body. At the gate of Kailasa, Sundarar was allowed to enter, but Chairman was not, because he was not invited. Sundarar went into his presence and praised for his mercy. He said, "O ocean of mercy, you have pardoned my sons and released me from the quagmire of samsara. You have taken me back into your fold and bestowed on me the immortal bliss. How kind and merciful you are." He then informed the Lord that Chairman was outside the gate. To please his friend, Lord Shiva sent his Nandikeshwara to bring him Chairman in. Lord asked Chairman how he could come to Kailasa without his permission. Chairman replied that when he saw Sundarar proceeding to Kailasa, I cannot bear the separation from him, so I accompanied him. Now by the good offices of connection of Sundarar, which earned for him the Lord's grace, he had been admitted into the Lord abode. In these words, Chairman expressed a very great truth, that even if the devotee is undeserving, if he is devoted to a saint, he will also gain in a place in the kingdom of God through the intercession of Guru. Sundarar, as before, engaged himself in his service with all his heart and soul. Paravayar and Sangaliyar, being perched on their karmas, also reached Kailasa. They resumed their original duty as the servants of Mother Parvati. It's such a beautiful story. Namah Shivaya.
தென்னாடுடை சிவனே போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி. So as they say, without his wish or without his grace, we cannot get together like this and talk about Nayanmars. In Tiruvasagam, Manikavasagar says, Avan Arulale Avan Tal Vanangi, which means only with Shiva's grace we will be able to worship him. Without his grace or permission, we cannot worship him. It is because of his grace that we all are together today and talking about Nayanmar, a very good way of keeping ourselves awake on Sivaratri day. Thanks to Mark for initiating this satsang. And as we were talking a lot about the Samaya Kuravargal, Nalvar, Manikavasakar is one among them. But Manikavasakar is slightly special. So I'll tell you why he is special among the Nalvar. The Chidambaram temple, all the four Nalvars, they entered through different entrances. Manikavasakar entered through the east entrance, and Appar entered through the west entrance, and Sundarar through the north entrance, and Tirunjana Sambandar through the south entrance. And there is a reason why they came through the different gates of the temple. Why? Because there are 4 different ways of reaching Shiva, it seems. Sundarar, shows the Sagamargam, which means the friendly way. He treated Shiva as his own friend. And Appar followed the Dasamargam, where he treats Shiva as his lord and he is a servant to him. And Tirunana Sambandha shows the Satputtira Margam, the way of reaching the Lord by considering him as his father. But Manikavasagar is very special. He shows the way of Sanmargam, where he treats Shiva as his own husband and he turns into a feminine energy to merge with him, to reach him. So they say Manikavasagar is very special. He doesn't fall under the 63 Nayanmars. He is always near Sivaberman. On the Darisanam day also, when Sivaberman comes out for the Tiruvidi Ula, he goes around the temple, all the 4 streets. Manikavasagar is towards the right of him. The statue of Manikavasagar is carried to the right of him, while Shivagami Ammayar or the Parvati Devi is on the left of him. He is always with Shiva. All the 63 Nayanmars actually follow him. It is like that. So, Manikavasagar is actually treated as Shivagami Ammayar himself. Manikavasagar is equal to Parvati Devi. Because Manikavasagar considered Shiva as his husband, her husband, to put it right. So, to be born on earth, it is considered there will be a baggage. That's why we are all born on earth. So, Nayanmars are no exception, only for Tirunjana Sambandhar. Tirunjana Sambandhar was asked by Shiva himself to be born on earth, to grow Shaivism and Tamil. Okay, he is also considered as a not a reincarnation, but the energy of Muruga himself to grow Tamil. And all the other 3 Nalvars had a karma for which they are born on. They were born on earth. So Sundarar, because of lust, he had to come to earth, but it was all Shiva's plan. As Kannan uncle said, it was all Shiva's plan only. And Appar is none other than Vakisar Munivar. But he came to earth because of the karma of helping Ravanan to get the Ravaneshwara Pattam. Because he helped the wrong guy. Though he helps the wrong guy. So he had to come back to earth and finish off that karma. And
So how much Parisha he faced Tirunavatar sir, Upper Son, how much what
he suffered among all the Nayanmars.
so much among the Nayanmars, so much suffered Nayanar is
Appar. He went through a lot. And I guess he is the one who had to live long on earth also. Among the Nayanmars, he was the eldest one. And our Manikavasagar. Manikavasagar also had a karma to be born on earth. So I am going to tell you that pre-story before Manikavasagar, what he was. So he was a Siddhar. He was one among the 1,000 people who were doing meditation with some scriptures. They call it Agamam in Tamil. They were all at Uttara Kosamangai. And they were all meditating with the scriptures. They were saving those scriptures. So what happened? Sivaberman comes and he tells, once upon a time I had given a boon to Mandodari, Ravanan's present wife, that when she wishes, I have to go there and be born as her child. So when I go there and when Ravanan touches me, there will be a fire in this temple kulam, temple pond. You all have to jump into this fire. So what happens likewise? Mandodari wished and Sivaberman was born as Mandodari's child there. And when Ravanan came and asked whose child is this? Parvati correctly goes in the disguise of a maid and she says, he is my child. And so Mandodari also says yes. But when Ravanan touched that child, touched Sivavarman, this fire started at the pond. And they all were planning, these Siddhars all were planning to jump into the fire. But they have to keep the Agamams safe. So they choose one among them and hand over all the Agamam to that person. And the remaining 999 of the Siddhars, they jump into the fire and they reach Shiva. So this person who is carrying the Agamam, he was stuck in earth. But he had his powers. So he had a special tablet which he used to take, become light as air and travel Agaya Margam. So one day when he was doing like that, there was a Pandya Mandan then who was ruling. He was in the terrace of his palace. And by mistake, this tablet falls into his hand. So the Siddha rushes and he says, no, this is not yours. It fell by mistake. It is mine. You will have to give me back. Now, the Pandya Manan asked for a deal. Okay, making use of the time properly, he says, I wish to visit Kailasam. Then I will give you this tablet back to you. So the Siddha had no other choice but to agree. So what he did was, he took the king, Pandya king, to Kailash. The king went along with the Sengol. There once he reached Kailash, he kept the Sengol like that and he was worshipping around. And while returning, he got that Sengol and he came back. But there was, Kailash is a mountain of gold. So little bit of gold got stuck in his Sengol that he got back. He knew, the Pandyamana knew that this gold was stuck. But still he was thinking, no, Kailash gold, it's very special. I have to carry back to my kingdom. So he took that and he came back. So this was the karma both the Pandya Mannan and Manikavasagar was carrying. So Manikavasagar had to be born again and he was born in the town called Tiruvadavur, which is near to Madurai. And this Pandya Mannan was born again as Arimartana Pandyan, again a Pandyan Raja. So they always say we should never wish for Sivan's property. Otherwise we'll have to pay back that. So that is what even the other Nayanmar, Chandigeshwarar, he keeps track of. So there is always a Chandigeshwarar Sannadhi inside a Shiva's temple, where we go and we show our hands like this, that we are not carrying anything, any Shiva's property we are not carrying, and we show like this and come. That is the reason behind. He is also one of the Nayanmars. So, likewise they carried the Shivan Sottu from there, Shivan's property, so they have to pay back now. This Arimartana Pandyan, knowing Manikavasagar, he was not called Manikavasagar then. Since he was born in Tiruvadavur, he was named after his place called Vadavurar. It was his name then. So he, knowing his knowledge and everything, he was shining very much. He studied a lot, this Tiruvadavurar, and he earned a place himself in the Pandya king's, Pandya's kingdom as minister. So once the Pandya king realizes he has to buy a lot of horses to build up his army and asks rightly to Vadavurar, gives him 12,000 gold coins. He is paying back that gold which he carried from Kailash with interest now. 12,000 gold coins was given to Vadavurar, asking him to buy some horses to build up the army. So he was asked to go to a place called Aimbal, where the Arabian horses are all we can buy and all that. So while he was going to that place called Aimbal, what happens was, inside a garden, he hears the chanting of Om Namah Shivaya. He was drawn there like a iron drawn towards a magnet. He was drawn there. He goes there. He sees Guru, who is none other than Shiva Berman himself, and he was accompanied by a group of followers. So Manikavasagar, he realized whatever the material things he is holding now, the position as a minister and all his wealth are nothing, but the real wealth is Sivaberman himself, and he has to reach there. So what happens was, this Om Namah Shivaya chanting was done by the Guru, and when he gets close to that Guru, he sees in his hand there is a book called Sivanyana Bodham. So he goes and sees that Shiva is Shiva Brahman himself. Jnanam is knowing Shiva Brahman, and Bodham is like confirming what knowledge you got, realization, like that. So the Diksha was given, and Manikavasagar Tiruvadavurar starts singing songs about Shiva Brahman, and Shiva Brahman himself gives the name of Manikavasagar. Manikam is ruby, and Vasagar is, he speaks like a ruby, it seems. So Manikavasagar, that name was given to him. And Sosomi says, see, when a girl gets married into a family, her name changes from father's name to husband name. Likewise, Manikavasagar's name got changed. That Diksha is actually a marriage which happened where his name got changed from Tiruvadavurar to Manikavasagar. Now he is married to Shiva Brahman himself. And when he was in that delight, suddenly Shiva Brahman disappears, and only one Asariri is heard telling, you come to Chidambaram, Tilaikava, and he disappears. And he says, no, how you can go, how you cannot take me along with you, you showed me yourself and now you have left me all. And he cries and cries and cries, and he composes this Tiruvasagam. That's why Tiruvasagam is also called as Alugai Tamil, because அழுது அவ்வளோ அழுது சிவபெருமானு கிட்ட போகணும்னு. 658 poems.
And he called himself as dog. Many places as dog. He addressed him as a dog. Almost 30-35 places, I think.
Yeah. And Sosomi also,
we should thank to one father and son, Subramanya something, that they had collected all these Tiruvajagas. I think more than 1,200 is there. Now it remains only 650 something only because of Subramanya something, one father and son. Because of this, their work, their devotion, at least we can have these parts.
Yeah.
And see, in the Uttarakosamagina, he attained Ashtama Siddhi Uttarakosamagina, Manikavasa. Actually, he went for buying some horses there, but later on there he attained this Ashtama Siddhi. And you mentioned about Chengol, Adi Shankara's people, scattered 4 areas like Puri, Sringeri, Joshimath, that is a Dwaraga. So, like that, Adinam. Manikavasa's people are called as Adinam. Madurai Adinam is there. So, one Adinam and his followers had given this Sengol in Parliament House.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to see that moment with some Tamil Padal, like Manikavasa's Padal. And also with sang by some people that time.
Yeah, true.
And Indian Prime Minister has, received the Changol from these people, the saint-like people. That time, only Tamil Manikavasa's Padal, Tiruvajam was rendered there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you. Wonderful. It's very good. Your way of speaking is very much with much clarity and utmost devotion. Your sounds is like mantra way.
Thank you. Avanarulale avantarvanangi. So I'll add one more detail.
You spoke from the third, not from the brain. You It's really reflects here. You spoke from here. Yeah, please tell me what.
So the other stories you might have heard, buying horses, how it turned to foxes and all that is a very common actually. One more detail I want to add is what happened was he reaches Chidambaram after going and singing in many other places. He goes to Chidambaram and he was sitting in inside the temple. That time Shivabarman himself comes like a sage and asks him, looks like you have sung a lot of poems on Shivabarman. And Manikavasagar humbly accepts, yeah, I have sung some. So this sage asks, can you tell me all those songs? I want to write it and keep it. So Manikavasagar told, and Shivabarman wrote himself with his own hands. He wrote and he signed it saying, மாணிக்கவாசகர் சொல்ல அழகிய திருச்சிற்றம்பலமுடையான் எழுதியது. He signed it like that and he kept it inside the temple. The next day Dikshadars found this ole, the palm, this one, and then they realized who Manikavasagar is, and they took Manikavasagar inside the temple, showed him all those songs, and they asked him what is the meaning of this Tiruvasagam. He points to Shivabarman and says, it is him. The meaning is nothing but him. And Jodi vanduchu, he just mingled with the Jodi. Like that. Avani Magam.
Yes.
And that copy of Tiruvasagam signed by Shivabarman is still there in Pondicherry. Ambalathayar Adi Madamla. And they show it, open it to the public only on Shivanratri.
Shivaratri also, I think, this Avani Magam also.
Okay.
That day also. Wonderful, wonderful.